On this episode, we're going to be talking about what to expect when expecting to build a home in West Michigan. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to Lovin the Lakeshore, episode number 11.
We made it.
We are into
goodness.
those double digits and we're pumped about it.
Yes.
And as Brian had mentioned, we are going to talk about construction.
Yeah.
And all of the things that go into construction, the process, why people might not do it, why it might be a great time to do it. Explain why it is important for us to talk about construction, especially in this market.
I feel like it's a big topic that I keep hearing about from people because they're exhausted trying to find properties in this crazy market.
For sure.
And find properties that are their style. And when it comes to finding all these homes that are just, 1990 styles, when they want an open concept, barrier-free living, those homes just aren't readily available. So I think that's why it keeps coming up.
And I've heard people say, well, I'd love that house, but then I have to throw another $150,000 into it to make it my own. I might as well build, right? So
talking through like the steps that go into building a house is just key for us to be able to be, ambassadors for good information.
Yes.
So.
Well, let's start with kind of the first step of getting into construction. And that would be like actually figuring out the cost associated with it. So tell me about that.
Explore the cost. This will be a little bit of a battle. All of the builders in the West Michigan market are busy. Okay.
Yes,
they
are.
Are bombarded with calls and they get stopped in the grocery store about what's it cost per square foot to build, right? Schedule a formal meeting with a builder and sit down and talk about those because a builder can't go through the process and the cost per square foot in the line at the grocery store. So doing that would be a great first step. Reaching out to us for some qualified builders would be how you do that. But that's step one is explore the cost before you go
and buy property, because that's the second thing. The second, not the first, the second thing is to really look at some properties and find it. And that's, like you said, super important to kind of get those in order. Know the cost before, because why is it important to start finding property second, Brian?
Because sometimes people buy lots and then they sell them. Because they're like, oh, these costs are too high. We need to get rid of this lot. We don't want to sell you a property just to simply sell it for you again. So that is why cart before the horse, right? You need the horse in front of the cart, which is understand pricing, get kind of a scope from the builder, then buy land. And then the next step would be
choose an architect. Then from there, okay, you have an idea of what the cost is. You have the lot to build on, and then boom, from there you can really start diving into making it your own. So you've done this how many times now?
Multiple. And my dad was a contractor, so he's no longer building as much. But I've learned that often the land will dictate what you build on it, right?
True.
Because the contour of the property determines the house you're going to build on it. So those are things to think about. Just realizing getting that architect is the next step. Some builders offer architects on staff, so you don't have to go find an architect.
Right.
But then it also limits you on your ability to maybe work with a different builder later because that builder exclusively owns your prints. So
And then you can finalize the plans. So it goes kind of right into like, okay, we found this architect. We really like these plans. Now let's finalize them and make them some blueprints to make them happen.
From the time you meet your architect for the first time and start conceptualizing what you want to build, it's more than likely going to take you 4 months to 6 months to finish those prints.
Right.
And that blows people away. But remember, the architects have a supply chain issue as well. They've already met with multiple customers that are on their way through finalizing their prints. So you are at the back of the line, not the front line.
Just getting started.
Just because you're really nice to them and you bring them donuts does not mean you're going to have your prints done in a month.
For sure.
So plan on a couple months there to finalize those prints.
Yes. And if your architecture is different than your builder, then once you have those plans finalized, that's when you would choose the builder to build those said plans.
You take your plans, you send it out to bid with maybe some, 1, 2, 3 different builders. If you send it out to 4, 5, 6, 7, that's insanity.
Too much.
Just pick a couple good builders that you feel like you could actually have a relationship with, because building with a builder is like a short-term marriage. You have to like the person. Even if they're a little more expensive, if they're nice, maybe it's worth it. So just something to think about with that.
Yes.
And then the last step would
send in to pricing. So now you have your builder, you are going to have your final plans. It's getting that pricing together to make a perfect package so that you can start your financing after that.
once it's all done, pricing's in, you can either pay cash for your build in a form of draws where you pay the builder as you go, or you can move into the financing part, which is our next segue. All right, so Molly, I know that you got to kind of gather all those things that we just talked about and bring it into you.
Yep.
And those are like sworn statements.
You got it.
Your blueprints.
You got it. Contracts
with your builder.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we get into the financing stuff, bank statements, W-2s, all of that. But the most important is those contracts, those sworn statements, and the blueprints from your builder. And your builder will help. It's not something that you have to go and find yourself. Your builder will help and give you those specific items because they know that we need them.
These are standard documents that the builder's filled out for anybody that's seeking a mortgage.
Yes.
So that's a big step. And then appraisal happens, right?
Yes. So what happens, of course, there's no house for them to appraise. So what they do is they take those items as the appraiser, they go and visit the land, they look at everything, and they say, yes, I think that this house, once completed, should value at, boom, this much. Awesome. Sometimes it can come under, depending on, the materials. Sometimes it can come over. Sometimes it can go right on. There's no guarantee that it's going to come, but it depends. Yep. So we have those conversations.
Realize that, too, because if you take and go get a loan on a house, when those pricing or when the prices come back, if the home under appraises, you can still build.
Yeah.
You just have to bring the amount that the bank says that it appraised for this much. If it's another $50,000 more, you just have to bring that additional $50,000.
Yep.
But just remember, most houses typically have what's called overruns because midway through the project, you'll be on Pinterest and you'll find a really clever, a really great idea.
There is a dog fireplace.
There's a dog washing station for the laundry room. We can do this, and then your builder's gonna go, yeah, that's gonna cost $18,000. And you're gonna be like, well, it's fine.
Worth it. I love my dogs. And I want them to be clean.
If you have a shortage on your appraisal, it's fine. If you have overruns, it's fine. But just be prepared for them.
Yep.
Most jobs will run 10 to 20% over. 20's kind of, you did it on purpose. 10 can just happen throughout the process of a build.
Yes.
So realize that the sworn statements and the bids that come in aren't necessarily gospel.
Right.
It's not Moses with 2 tablets here. I mean, there are things that are going to change throughout the process, and that's what's called a work change order.
Yep.
And the builder will provide that to the bank to let them know where you're at roughly with the process.
Yes, and we try to, on the lender side of things, make sure that you are equipped with as much as possible. So typically the builders try to go, a little on the conservative side. We also try to be on the conservative side, so you don't have a ton of overruns. Yep. That's our goal.
Next, your appraiser comes back, builder gets to pull permits.
And we start sending everything into underwriting. Boom, boom, boom.
Then things get real.
Then
we will be listening to you as you're going through the process, and you say, they're delayed, the contractor didn't show up last week. There'll be all that. But just remember, at the end, you're going to have a brand new 2023 barrier-free home that you can age in place.
And financing,
how exciting.
Yeah, financing's not one size fits all too.
Yeah.
So one thing that makes Lake Michigan Credit Union different is we do an upfront one-time close.
Oh, yes.
So I get all your documents, I get those sworn statements, we send it into underwriting. Underwriting checks the box, make sure, might ask for a couple things from the builder, might ask for a couple of things from you, but they say, stamp, your final approved. Now, here the builder can get everything that they need, the draw started. You've already closed. You don't have to wait 12 months to see what rates do, wait 12 months for anything change. Boom, you're done, you're closed.
So if you are considering starting the whole process of buying land and getting financing, we will be your therapist through the process.
Whole thing. We're
from
here.
Start to finish. So we will see you next time.